Story 1. I cannot for the life of me understand why everything needs to have smart technology. Okay, I get the idea of carrying a small portable phone, computer, camera, or video player in my pocket. Yes, that is a good concept. Why do my appliances need to connect to the internet? Why does a cup need to tell me when to drink water? Why does a bathroom mirror and light switch have smart settings? For the record, I am 40 years old, which means I am tech-savvy enough to use most modern, ubiquitous forms of technology such as computers, smartphones, digital single-lens reflex cameras, self-checkouts, and so on. But I do not understand why other basic things need to incorporate smart technology. I have a perfectly functional pair of hands to turn off a light switch. I have a fully operational tongue inside my mouth that determines if I am thirsty. As far as I know, appliances are just tools. Story 2. Social media, especially with regards to TikTok creators and influencers who are full-time posting carefully crafted content that skews our perception of reality, affects their victims, the doom scrollers. We were fine without social media over 20 years ago, and it adds very little value to our lives. It could be replaced by directly visiting, calling, texting, or mailing the people we want to stay connected with. It is a net negative, especially for the undereducated and young adults and children. Story 3. Finding meaning in your work, having a fulfilling career, and working with your passion are important aspects of life. Most people seem to be stressed out trying to find that job or feel like a failure because they have not. Modern society has taught us that we can become what we want and that the goal is self-realization through work. So if you hate working, you feel you have failed at life. The focus should be on people working less, rather than everyone chasing dream jobs. Story 4. Music everywhere. Is it so important to have a dance party while I am pumping gas, shopping for groceries, or waiting at the doctor's office? Story 5. Everyone claims that certain inventions are the best since sliced bread, but have you ever had unsliced bread? It is less convenient, but it is also much more flavorful due to not being full of preservatives. Story 6. Virtual reality. While I think it is a very impressive piece of technology, the quality of games available and streaming platforms are just not there yet. Story 7. Most things that are smart. We now have televisions with such underpowered processors and painfully slow software that after only a few years, they take minutes just to switch on and have to think after every button press. Good old cathode ray tubes and the early flat screens did not look as fancy but used to simply do what you told them instantly. Many other devices, like printers, now need to connect to your Wi-Fi, an account set up, downloading an application with numerous pointless questions and preferences to answer, rather than the truly novel idea of just connecting the wire to the computer, putting paper in, and pressing print. Story 8. Self-driving cars are a cool idea, but they are still somewhat sketchy and not as reliable as they are made out to be. Story 9. Minimalism in color choices. Everyone considers black and white to be modern, and it is disappointing. Even a green car is a rare sight now, to the point that I see kids being amazed to see one. Story 10. I understand that Steve Jobs changed the game when the first iPhone was released, but other manufacturers have also been creating smartphones. However, I believe that the iPhone itself is completely overrated. Some of the features that iPhone users rave about have been available on other phones for years, but those manufacturers do not market them as effectively as Apple does, making it a moot point. I have to use an iPhone for work, and I am not a fan, but I use it because it is necessary. Story 11. Social media. Look, I like keeping in touch with my old high school and college buddies, but this notion that if you are not sharing your every waking moment online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, then there is something wrong with you boggles my mind. Privacy is underrated, in my humble opinion. Nobody knows what I am doing, where I am going, or who I am with. And that is the way I like it. Story 12. Artificial intelligence. It seems so cool when it first came out, but it is becoming frightening now. Like, how do we know whether what we are watching or hearing is even real anymore? Story 13. Artificial intelligence seems to be a complete failure. Companies fire their entire staff and then realize this technology is just making it up with numerous errors, requiring them to rehire people. Story 14. Artificial intelligence. The only good applications are ones most people do not know about that are in scientific fields. The artificial intelligence craze, though, is all bad. Chat generative pre-trained transformer is making people worse writers and is, in my opinion, making the loneliness epidemic worse, as well as making classroom experiences worse for everyone since there are no reliable ways to detect it. Image generation is taking jobs from artists and is stealing the art of artists, so it is taking both their jobs and their already created works. On top of this, it consumes significant amounts of electricity, and right now is probably the most critical moment for fighting climate change, but apparently generating a meme video instead of paying an editor $10 is more important than the future of the planet. Overall, 0 out of 10, and I hate seeing it everywhere with such a burning passion it cannot even be accurately described. Story 15. Everything has an air fryer setting. The air fryer setting on my stove, the air fryer setting on my microwave, and the air fryer setting on my toaster oven do not compare to an actual air fryer. Granted, I did not know that until I visited someone with an air fryer, so I thought it was just overrated as a whole. But as it turns out, air fryers are impressive. Story 16. Online shopping has taken away from the local community, both socially and economically. It is also a pain and a gamble, as you cannot see the product firsthand before you purchase it. Story 17. As a retired IT professional, the only smart device I have is my phone. All that Google and Alexa technology would never be allowed in my home. Besides, every device that connects to Wi-Fi consumes data and bandwidth. Big Brother is listening. Story 18. Artificial intelligence integration in everything and every device is becoming smarter. I cannot believe I am typing this. I love computers and technology. I used to want to have a smart home, but I have truly grown tired of it. Story 19. Maybe air fryers. They are just small convection ovens, but people act like they are some revolutionary technology. Story 20. General tech. I have seen too many things getting a vague tech repackage and being called a new invention. My favorite example of this is when a technology chief executive officer tried calling vending machines with artificial intelligence bodega boxes. On the flip side, plumbing is underrated. Story 21. This is so niche, but it has been very annoying to me. Someone invented a snowboard stopper. It is basically a U-shaped piece of plastic that you slide over the front edge of your snowboard, between your feet, that stops your board from sliding if you are trying to strap in while standing up. It is an unnecessary waste of money. Just stand up parallel to the hill or sit down. In my opinion, if you literally cannot stand up on your snowboard without adding a plastic stopper, you need to get back on the magic carpet. Story 22. The minimalism trend confuses me. I like my belongings, which is why I bought them. Why would I throw everything away? For the aesthetic? For a simplicity of living that I haven't needed in my previous 39 years of life? I am not a hoarder. I find happiness in the things I own, and I have plenty of storage space. I don't need someone telling me I would be happier otherwise, because I already know that is not true. Story 23. Self-checkout and self-service systems, although convenient, really make it hard to socialize with other human beings anymore. I hate that I can go out shopping and pretty much not have to talk to anyone. We live in a society. We are meant to socialize. Story 24. Push to start cars make them even easier to steal and we gain nothing. Remember the dark ages when we had to suffer by turning a key. Story 25. Trying to be cool and popular online. Who cares what people think? Maybe you could do something more interesting or useful with your life than the Grenade Challenge. Story 26. Trying to be cool and popular online. Who cares what people think? Maybe you could do something more interesting or useful with your life than the Grenade Challenge. Story 27. Social media is not just overrated and useless, but actually a detriment to the well-being of a person and society in general. Friendly conversation over current events has become virtually impossible because there is not a shred of reality anymore. Everyone has their own unique algorithm-fed realities. Story 28. Cars are really useful at the time of their invention. Nowadays, their downsides are far greater than their advantages, especially when we know high-speed rail and other public transport exist and can or should be implemented. Story 29. Business executives trying to be trendy by naming organization-wide meetings, town hall, or Ask Me Anything are missing the mark. Yes, these meetings are absolutely different, as town hall has been co-opted to become a meeting where the executives talk for 90% of the time or more, leaving little room for audience engagement. The worst part of this trend is that the meetings that should be recorded, the town halls, are the ones conducted live, while the Ask Me Anything style meetings are usually pre-recorded. This practice is primarily aimed at making it harder to ask tough questions. Story 30. I think some people simply overdo it. I use my smart bulbs and similar devices for routines, so all of my lights turn off at once, as some are hard to reach. For example, when I am on vacation, I can help my mom by turning on a few things for her while she is house-sitting, or turning them off if she forgot. There is no need for a smart dryer or anything like that, though. Story 31. Wireless charger. If you have to go from point A to point B to charge your device using both wireless and wired methods, what is the point of wireless charging? Story 32. Dating applications are nearly impossible to navigate in the quest for love because a few greedy companies have chosen to profit from lonely individuals. Story 33. Smartphones are great. Imagine going back to the 1950s or 1960s when they just started developing computers, or the late 1970s and 1980s when computers in the home began to emerge. Showing someone from that time period that you have a computer more powerful than that huge thing on their desk and that it holds way more storage than the hard drives they had, which could be the size of the computer tower itself and maybe even bigger, and they would think you were out of your mind. My observation about smartphones in 2025 is that they aren't mind-blowing anymore. Yet, you still have people who think anyone cares about what smartphone they own. Smartphones have become pretty much the same routine every year now and have been for a while. When I feel like I could go back to my iPhone 5 and still operate in this smartphone-centric world, it shows that not much has really advanced in a while. Remember Zoom during the height of the pandemic? I always have to remember that it was a group of older individuals who never used group video chat before being amazed by Zoom. However, platforms like TinyChat and that Google platform did the same thing years before. I remember joining TinyChat with friends from Tumblr for fun back in 2009, and it was basically the same experience as Zoom. As for TikTok, the algorithm is impressive, but TikTok is just Vine that figured out how to pay content creators and retain its audience. Nothing new or mind-blowing, really. It is just videos on the internet pushed to you in a low attention span format. Regarding artificial intelligence, as an everyday person, I still don't see why I need it. Sure, maybe it will improve, but I probably touch my AI application only once a month since I downloaded it. I love gaming and own the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, but besides the usual power boost consoles get every generation, what other features do they have that really make them mind-blowing? Sony has been using Blu-ray since the PlayStation 3. The original Xbox let me rip my CDs to its drive. Streaming applications have been available on consoles since the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and Wii. Online gaming on consoles has been an option since the Dreamcast and original Xbox. What's the big deal now? Story 34. Smartphones seriously are ruining people's lives. They are the source of most media consumption and are negatively impacting this country. Story 35. The microwave is touted as being fast and convenient, but it typically does not cook anything well. It does not warm things up consistently. We reheat and cook food on the stove. It works better and takes about 5 or 6 minutes. Half cooking food in 30 seconds and then spending 5 minutes eating it is overrated and frankly unwise. Story 36. Artificial intelligence. The only good applications are the ones most people do not know about that are in scientific fields. The artificial intelligence craze, though, is all bad. Chat generative pre-trained transformer is making people worse writers and is, in my opinion, worsening the loneliness epidemic, as well as making classroom experiences worse for everyone since there are not any reliable ways to detect it. Image generation is taking jobs from artists and is stealing the art of artists, so it is stealing both their jobs and their already created works. On top of this, it consumes horrific amounts of electricity, and right now is probably the most critical moment for fighting climate change, but apparently generating a meme video instead of paying an editor $10 is more important than the future of the planet. Overall, 0 out of 10, and I hate seeing it everywhere with such a burning passion it cannot even be accurately described. Story 37. The excessive amount of streaming services means that most of the time, you will never watch all the movies or shows on a service. Then you need about 4 different ones to get the couple of shows you actually want to watch. I have pulled out my Blu-ray player and am working on collecting more things to watch from local thrift stores. Story 38. Not a modern invention, but it has been modified within an inch of its life is alcohol. Ugh, I hate that stuff in all its versions. Story 39. The trend towards touchscreen technology is increasing. Physical buttons that you push are infinitely more useful because you do not have to look at them to see what you are pushing. Story 40. The air fryer. If you are not investing in the top brand of air fryer and you have a convection oven, do not bother. It seems unwise to me. Story 41. Requiring a cell phone just to make an account at any website drives me crazy. Or excessive use of forced two-factor authentication. I can understand this at banks and cryptocurrency sites, but not when I want to order a pizza. Story 42. Memory seats on a $70,000 car. If I drop $70,000 on a car, I am not letting anybody drive it. Those seats are staying right where I left them. Story 43. Cortana, Alexa, and all the voice-activated services that make lazy people even lazier. I can see it being beneficial to individuals with disabilities, but many people are just unmotivated and spoiled. Story 44. Cars and trucks peaked in the late 1990s through the early 2000s. Then, the Environmental Protection Agency regulations made them less reliable and more expensive. Companies started cutting corners by using more plastic and unnecessary technology like continuously variable transmissions. Additionally, all of the unnecessary technology and excessive features along with so-called luxury items have contributed to a decline in quality. Modern cars and trucks do not last for 250,000 to 300,000 miles like they used to. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.